And what's up, everybody? This is None Defense, host of this YouTube channel, and of course, co-leader of the team, Still Unboomable. There's my account right there, 385 victory points. Of course, the real leader of our team is Miss Boom Bitch Angie. Say hello, Angie.
Good morning, everyone.
She's not feeling too hot this morning, so she's not going to be too chatty. Of course, we have our co-leaders, Mr. Bronsoon, Nick Heel, and our regular officers, Mr. Titan, Mr. HB, and Mr. Hex. Alright, so this video is a part of our Booming Without Borders campaign. So if you'll see here that I am currently not on Still Unboomable, I am over here hanging out with the cool fellas and females of Westland. As you can see, they've just recently moved to 50 players, so there was plenty of slots available, and they were looking for everyday attackers. Well, I stumbled across them and figured, like, hey, I'm an everyday attacker. Let me just jump in there and bring over some guys and just talk about Booming Without Borders, talk about what it is that we're trying to achieve here. Oop, I wanted to show their leaders. Their big leader, who I've had a chance to talk to plenty, is, I'm just gonna do my best. Is that B Frucacan? I'm just calling him BF. Of course, we got Syntrax, as far as co-leaders, Blah, Dan Radar, he's pretty good, Boss Land, and these are some pretty, some people that I had a chance to communicate with just a little bit, for better or for worse, and worse, I'm talking about Blah. No, the people who came over to visit when I brought teammates, they were very confused about Blah. I just ignore people because I've been doing this a long time, going to different teams, and you always run into these weird personalities. So I just hone in on the guy who's going to talk with me, and in this case it was BF, and just ignore everybody else. Because if you're not going to be a helpful part of the conversation, then I'm just not going to have the conversation with you. Is that fair? So I just moved straight on over to I just honed in on BF. He's the big leader. He seemed very reasonable, very level-headed, very well-rounded as a player and a leader. So, whatever, Blah, you go play, have fun. I mean, you did all right, but, whatever. So, we came over to Booming Without Borders, as you know. That's the thing where we show up and we just give our blueprint, talk about how we do things, why we do things, and all of this stuff. This team, just to be perfectly honest, was very skeptical starting out, and even after we got here and started doing our thing, we still got members. We still got members who were, what am I trying to say? I don't know. They're haters. Like, I guess that's all I can say. Like, and if you're on this team and you're saying, "Oh, I'm not a hater. I was just hating." Well, okay, then that's the case, because that's just how it felt to everybody who came over. And was like, what's up with all these haters? So everybody's, until we see action, we won't believe anything. Well, partner, guess what? We showed you action. So this team, prior to us showing up, had, to the best of my knowledge, let's see, lost Powder Keg, lost Upper Lip, lost Mambo, beat Powder Keg, beat Upper Lip, lost Powder Keg, beat. I mean, you see where this is going? Kind of, just kind of a mixture of just wins and losses. Let's look at their stats. So 59% success rate all time, 64% success rate in the last 30 days. Now this number will tick up at least 1%, thanks to yours truly and company. So that was the level that they were at. From my perspective, they were just, a bunch of the players are really, really strong. And going through and looking at some of their previous ops, I definitely say that so far they've gotten more on a strength first mentality, as opposed to an actual thinking about things mentality. Guys, I'm just being honest. I was here with you for a couple of days observing things, and I'm not seeing a lot of coordination, and your chat confirms that from various people in your chat talking about it. I'm not seeing a lot of working together. I'm not seeing a lot of cross communication. I'm not seeing a lot of that, and the guys who are on the team, and I forget who it was, I won't call out names specifically, but they're saying, oh, well, we do this stuff already. No, pal, you don't, and the video shows that. So for the first video, this is where I'm going to show the attacks that were ran by either myself or one of my teammates who came over here with me. So that's what this video is focused on, and then there I will explain the reasons and the purpose and why we chose all the decisions that we chose, because there was an actual reason. I am going to show Gambit last, so please don't let me finish this video without running through that. So let's start with ribbon cable. This is the recruiter account. Excuse me. So at a quick glance, when I saw this base and knowing that we needed what we needed to go, I was like, all right, well, first things first, we just need to go ahead and get rid of these rockets real quick. And and any of my rifle accounts are perfect for that kind of operation, perfect for that kind of mission. And anybody who's like, oh, no, you can't use rifle in operation, you can't use rifle against rockets. What just happened? Let's look at that. Again, the evidence is what the evidence is. So that was recruiter. Had I retreated right there, I'd have been okay, because I did my job. I got rid of my 4 rockets. But you know me, we're not going to retreat. That was a barrage, just going to head to start working on those mines a little bit. I didn't want to dedicate too many mines to barrage, or dedicate too many barrage to hitting mines, but I do try to at least get 1 barrage, mine clearing barrage, or artillery in every run when there's this many mines to deal with. That just kind of helps even things out, spread the damage. So I'm just going to get out of that. So you see what I was doing. I was bombing those. I fought the 4 rockets, and then I bombed the other 4 rockets. So this was Willow going in hookah, and this of course was driven by myself. Willow has a lot of red health statues. I don't typically go hookah on Willow, but when I do, it's usually very effective. I use Willow for kind of other things. I wasted a barrage throwing at that rocket there, and I hate that I did that, but it happened. So again, nothing majorly fancy. Finish using bomb work to finish off there. Go ahead and bring my hook up here and just kind of let them start this area. Nothing super special. It was BF, the leader, who at the end of it was like, oh, well, I just saw a bunch of regular attacks. Well, you know what? Yeah, that's what we gave you. We gave you a bunch of regular attacks, but they were well coordinated. They were discussed. There was a reason that we chose who went in at what time. It wasn't just, okay, everybody take turns hitting attack button, and whoever gets through, gets through. That is not our system. So Daryl, who is a real-life player, who for some reason I was thinking he's in Holland. Is he in Virginia? Why do I keep forgetting about Daryl? Like, Daryl's the man. Yeah, we saw that Miss Flarrell, Daryl. You're forgiven. So the goal here, I told him, was like, just swing around back and just start doing your thing, man. And that's exactly what he did. He swung around back, knowing that he has tons and tons of rifle. And when we see all these single shot stuff, oh, we love sending rifle in. Super fun, super way to do it. It's just a choice. It's just seeing the defenses, and recognizing the situation. Alright, well, Bull Rush, I wasn't going to show any of your guys in this video, but since you attacked a base that we were attacking, I kind of feel like I have to. So, Bull Rush, let's go ahead and pull you up, pal. Alrighty. I mean, I like the flare. I want you to drop and then flare to get all your groupings together, and I specifically want you to flare to this corner. Again, if this is your plan, then you need to flare here, and you say, oh, it doesn't really matter. That's a good habit, guys. I promise you. I've been beating a lot of bases by sticking to those good habits. Second, Bull Rush. If I have to be honest, terrible troop combination. I'm not a big fan of hookah mixed with medics. I know I see it out there, and people say, oh no, they keep the heavies alive. No. What happens is the medics get all hung up trying to keep the heavies alive. The Zookas go off doing their own thing, and you're still losing heavies because you only have so many heavies on the field, so they're not able to absorb the damage across the board. Whereas if you just replace these tanks with heavies, get rid of these medics, replace them with Zookas, then you're in business, man. You've got something. This, terrible. And we're going to show it. It's going to be, proof is in the pudding. So, let's go ahead and just watch that. If you had come up in chat, Bull Rush, and say, hey, where would you want me to attack? And I would have looked at your base and said, yeah, get rid of those tanks, pal. And we love tanks on our team. Like, we freaking love them. Tanks are awesome. You can beat player bases with them. You can just roll right through Dr. Terror with them. Like, it's wonderful. But this is just, like, there was no account for the Doom Cannon. There was no account for all this single shot. Just like everything that tanks are weak against, that's what he sent them in on, Bull Rush. And BF, you said this is one of your favorite player. Well, you know, I didn't ask him to attack that way, nor did I can control his screen. So that was Ribbon Cable. Sander Bob, he's one of mine. He has 2 accounts. He has a bigger one and a smaller one. He elected to bring his bigger one over here, but leave his smaller one at home for today's mission. Just finishing bombing that Doom Cannon. He's going to drop over here. Notice that he's dropping the Zookas first and then the heavies. That's a very well, coaches. Sander, corner. It's going to kill you one day, Sander. But he hasn't been with us for terribly long, but he's definitely has the idea, the point, the purpose of what it is that we're trying to achieve. Excuse me. So, and as you can see, I don't recall if he won here or if he timed out or whatever happened, but, you know, it was just a matter of using the attacks at the right time. It's not just everybody trying to attack the same way, everybody trying to do the same thing, because that's not it exactly. What it really is using the attacks at the right time. You know, like Silvercat, all Zuka, low level, right? Well, we're not going to send a low level Silvercat in, you know, at the beginning, you know, for this type of situation. We were very comfortable with how we did it. We had Recruiter on rifle duty, so we send him up on rockets. We had Daryl on rifle, so we send him up to clear single shots. Then we had, you know, the hookah user, Sander Bob. We send him around to go ahead and finish fighting toward the core. Then we send Silvercat with her low-level all-Zookas to finish the job. Like, it was a choice. Everything about that was a choice. There was nothing random about when or why we hit the attack buttons. When we open up guest slots for you guys who want to come over to our team to observe us do a hard operation, and we'll be doing Stronghold again soon, and just observe the process, you're welcome to do it. I think what you will see mostly once that happens is you will see excuse me, is you will see a lot more conversation within the chat. There's also conversations happening via private chats about more specialized attacks. There's just tons and tons of cross communication going on. So that was Silvercat on Ribbon Cable. We came over here specifically intended to beat Gambit and Ribbon Cable. And that's what we did. But Mercury was still sitting there. So I don't want this video to get too long. So now I'm just going to kind of just quickly try to rattle off the reasons we did certain attacks. So this was Fancy Pants. It didn't work out so well. I used a little bombs to clear out some of that stuff. Smoke, try to flare here, caught that thing, which cost me dearly. You know, but I mean, I still did decent damage. I just wish I had spent one extra bomb to get rid of that. But I mean, I almost got that rocket out, so not a bad attack, it's just not the most well executed good attack. But that was driven by me. But so was this, and this one turned out really good. So, you know, if you make fun of me for doing really bad on the last one, then you have to, you know, shake my hand for doing really good on this one. So, we'll just go ahead and smoke there. We're going to smoke right there. Going to let the smoke run out. Shock, something like that. Very good. Flare. I don't remember what my gunboat situation at this point was, but I didn't need too much. And then I just flare back here. You know, nothing fancy. Just trying to generate a few extra gunboat. I can tell you, your guys, when I go through your attacks, I've already seen people do this where they destroy power cells and start shocking things. That is a mistake. Power cells are for bombs. Bombs. Do not waste my power cells on my operation on my team using shock. If you're wasting time on power cells, you need to be generating bombs, and you need to be using them to bomb the correct targets. In this case, we'll start working on these rockets. So, that was that. And again, so this was Mishu. This was driven by myself. I love the Rifleman. In real life, as we were here, it was my guys, my real life guys, Daryl and HB and Marshall and all of them. They were the ones doing all the conversation in the chat. Like, I talked a little bit, but they were doing such a good job. I just kind of shut up and just started, excuse me, having a little burp there. I just kind of shut up and just started doing my thing, because I was like, well, they seem to have the talking part down pat. They had already done their attacks. They had nothing better to do other than watch me get mine in. So that's what I did. You know, I just sat there and just started quietly attacking and doing my thing. What I saw here was all these power cells available. I knew I could use these power cells to finish off these rockets, if nothing else. And then if I played my cards right, I might even be able to fight that rocket. So, you know, that was the goal in my mind. That was the plan. Eat power cells, finish bombing these rockets, then eat power cells to generate enough shock and or smoke or whatever to start working on this stuff. So let's go ahead and send you back up there. So again, I'm just going to work over here, use these bombs. Think I'm going to flare back here or something, kind of get some different positioning. You notice how that I flared between the snipers, because I didn't want those snipers picking off my riflemen while I'm working on the cells. So I went ahead and just stuck them right between the snipers, so the riflemen have no choice but to go ahead and just finish that bad boy off. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just generating my gunboat, shock and smoke, flare that, and boom. So there you go. And just like that, Mishu, you know, used good coordinated principles, a plan, and just managed to take out 3 rockets. Well, she's a low level. You know, good job there, Mishu. And yeah, she had help from the previous attack, but the previous attack had help from the previous attack, and so on and so forth. Alright, Mercury, this is Steve. Steve is not one of my guys. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. Decent Zuka drop there. Let's go ahead and fight this. Fight this. You're taking damage. Alright, good job. Okay. I wouldn't have shocked there. If you're going to flare here in that situation and save yourself a shock, flare over here. That way you don't even have to shock that thing. It's decent. I get it. Old Steve, what I like about this attack is he was focused on defenses and clearing the HQ. He's not, you know, wasting time just doing a bunch of silly things. And you'd be amazed how many silly attacks I come across in these Booming Without Borders campaigns. So then it was Matt Dragon. I'm not going to say Steve helped. I'm not going to say he didn't help. He just kind of, you know, did his little part, and that's okay. You know, there was no. We love on Still Unboomable. We love the coordination. Like, if we didn't have the ability to coordinate our attacks, we would. Most of us wouldn't even play the game. Like, we really, the only thing we care about is just enjoying the game and coordinating and coaching your teams and all that stuff. And somehow that evolved into Booming Without Borders, where we now take it even further and go to other teams and show them how to do it. It's just really fun for us. So that was Matt Dragon, driven by me. This is Bronze Richard, also driven by me. Not my best work. I missed a shock here or there, but this is based on a trick that I've seen Braun do a few times. I missed that shock, but what he would do is go shock, right? Keep all this stuff locked down, and then if Braun had been doing this same attack, I guarantee he would have gotten all the way up to here. I'm not quite as good at that particular style of attack as Braun is, but, you know, I'm okay. I tried. The thing was, Nick and Braun, you know, 2 of my best guys, they couldn't make it over on this trip. So I just kind of had to be the best Braun and Nick that I could be, you know, and when I'm not around, they have to try to be the best nun defense that they can be, you know, so it's funny. Alright, so I send in Bartholomew. This is me. Just gonna go smoke all this stuff. If you don't know, the principle of a smoky warrior is, you know, you smoke to an item, or you flare to an item, smoke, let your guys settle on the target, then select your new target, smoke the path. Okay, so that was Bartholomew, just working on some rockets there. Nun defense, going all riflemen on borderline. And I kind of just went with a version of the same tactic that I tried on Braun, but with better results. It worked out. Again, it wasn't great, but I wasn't going for miracles at this point. In real life, we were so far ahead of budget at this point that I kind of had the privilege of stop being even required to think too hard about it and just started doing what we do, which is just, when we have this many attacks left over and we've already accomplished our goals, now we can just start really having fun and just throwing things at it. You notice how I dropped my medics first in this situation? That's not in every situation, but, it matters. Went ahead and just kept 2 rocket shop, knowing that these tanks could certainly handle 2 rockets and not being too worried about this single shot stuff because these are really high level tanks. Now if you're thinking, well, none, how come you can go in with tanks but I can't go in with tanks? Well, this is my buddy Lord Marshall's account that I just drive for various missions. Real life friend, great guy. His tanks are powerful, and remember, when you're trying to do these harder operations, you can't use anything less than level 15 tank. We have watched some of the most confident, strongest tankers in terms of skill get laughed at by all these operations because they're trying to go in with level 10 tanks. My level 10 tanks are perfect for player bases. Yeah, that's player bases, pal. Welcome to the operation. This is bottleneck. Like, this isn't even stronghold. This isn't even, above that. Like, this is, yeah. So, I'm not saying, this is your team, Westland. BF, blah, Dan. It's your team. Ultimately, you decide to do whatever it is that you decide to do. But if you're truly trying to reach the upper levels and you're ready to start making the adjustments that you got to make, this is the first change you got to make. You can't send these tanks in, man, unless they're really, really powerful. If you have super tanks, by all means, send them in, man. They're going to be fine. Not in every situation. You still got to set them up. But was I watching in real time? Man, you guys got to tell me. Alrighty, so that was Lord Marshall, and he has level 16 tanks, and they're not max. I think, is there 1 or 2 more levels? Doesn't really matter. The point is, that's Lord Marshall, and at that point, I chose that account to send in because I already done most of the hard work of clearing all the cannons and the single shots and just everything that was going to give the tanks, even his high level tanks, everything that was just going to give them a really bad day. I just went ahead and got rid of it. And yes, we know that Zuka's outrange flamethrowers, so you don't have to tell us that. But the fact is, there's always 1 or 2 Zukas that will just walk right up to the flamethrower, and we don't know why. It's just has to. So we still like to go ahead and shock flamethrowers in this situation and just save us those Zukas. Reflare. See that? This was on Angie's account. This was driven by me, and this was just working together. Had we tried this account from the beginning, well, you saw Bronze Richard attack. It wouldn't have worked. But by using the attacks in a more or less decent order with a very clear perspective of what it is that we're trying to do, then it was easy. And I know you're saying, oh, but none, you were running all the accounts, so, that made it easy. To a point, but on Still Unboomable, I only have, 4 accounts over there, so I only get, 4 attacks. And, that may seem like a lot, but not really. That's 1 attack, on every other base. I don't even get to attack every base. So it all really comes down to your coordination. Everything that you just watched me do with these attacks, these are the same attacks that we taught our guys to do. And some of them are, that we learned from our other guys. But these are the same attacks that everybody on our team does in some version. We all have different styles, different gunboat. Excuse me. I will go ahead and make fun of Titan real quick. In real life, we had done beaten Gambit, Mercury, Borderline, and Ribbon Cable, so it was just okay, well, I guess now it doesn't really matter what we do. And then Titan saw that I had already started sending out accounts, sending accounts back to the home team, so he was like, alright, well, I'm going to leave, but I'm just going to attack quickly so no one can say I didn't attack. And it was a terrible attack, Titan, but he knows it. Had this been a must-win, had to win right now situation, this wouldn't have been the attack. He would have swapped over to hookah and ran something a little more direct. But as far as this goes, so that was that. As you can see, he he hit the attack button. He just smash and ran, waking that rocket. Again, it wasn't pretty, not even pretend pretty. But it did set up this attack where Mr. Bombastic was able to go in and just kind of start finishing this up. So he just went ahead, he attacked quickly, just get the attack over with, because there's, at this point, when we had this many attacks left over from the Westland team after we opened things up, there's really no way you guys can screw this up. So it really didn't matter what he did. So please don't judge Titan too harshly based on those attacks, because that's not Titan. That was no effort. And okay, so that was all of our guys, except it is now time to show, what was it, Gambit. Alright, so this is a story that I promised to tell one of our guys. His name is Marshall. He's been on the team for, I don't know, a few weeks now. One of the things that I like about Marshall, though, is he has jumped right into our system. Like, he came from a team very similar to Westland, a team where everybody felt like, oh, well, as long as we're strong enough and everybody attacks, we'll be fine. And, and there they were, just beating their head against the wall, can't figure out why they're not beating these operations. He hooks up with my team and learns our system, and now he's one of our guys. You know what I mean? Like, now he's one of those guys that you can count on to try really hard and to work with the system and do whatever he's got to do. And Nick is our best Zuka user. He could not make it over to this trip, but Marshall has studied Nick's attacks thoroughly and has done everything in his power to become another version of Nick. So great job, Marshall. So this was Gambit. We've seen Gambit a billion times. We're just going to go up here and fight these boom cannons. Really Buddy's only job here was not even to fight these boom cannons. Buddy's only job was to just clear a path of these mines and make sure these mines are gone. That was Buddy's only job. Now, I'm not saying he should have retreated after that, but he could have, and it would have still been okay, because ultimately he only needed to do one thing. But we went ahead and made sure we took out the boom cannon. So, good job there. Okay. Alrighty, Now, Marshall, as soon as he saw Gambit, he knew he wanted it. He called it. He called dibs on it. So, that's why I grabbed Buddy, one of my lowers, and I'm like, alright, let me go ahead and set that up for you, so that way you can just have a nice, safe trip to the back. Let's pull him up. Now, at this point, a lot of people are familiar with the all Zuka approach, even though a lot of people still are scared to use the all Zuka approach. Well, guys, don't be scared to try it. Do some easy operations and do training operations. We're going to be doing that tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Tomorrow, whenever you guys have enough intel, but we will be doing a training op. That was a part of the agreement. This was our demonstration op. We'll show you what we do. Then the next op will be a training op, where I will hopefully teach you what to do. And that depends on you guys. I can't make you learn anything. So if you guys don't learn anything, don't feel like, oh, well, you're not a good teacher, because, there's, I don't know, hundreds of boomers out there who, in some form or fashion, have picked up some tips from me or my crew. Because I don't know everything. A lot of the stuff that I learned from other guys on the team. So that was Marshall, a.k.a. hit the weakest link. No, had he managed to just get past, was it this flamethrower that reached out and grabbed him a little bit, he would have been able to win. So, you're so close, Marshall. Good job. But you guys on this team, or was it BF, the main leader, whoever it was giving me a hard time about Grublet. Grublet, for those of you who don't know, is an account that I have 7 level 1 landing craft. At max, I have 35 Zukas, or my other loadout, which is 35 riflemen, or my other loadout, which is 30 riflemen and 2 Zukas. So Marshall goes in, he does that, he barely wins. So like, oh great, now we're gonna, there's 20,000 health left, now we're gonna have to send a big account in, and somebody with tons of gunboats so he can just bomb it. No, man, send in a grublet for a situation like this. And you don't even have to fight nothing. Just flare him right over here. Let him start working these power cells. Do my pause? There we go. Let him start working these power cells. The power cells have health. And when you're just, and again, I don't like destroying power cells during the meat and potatoes part of the battle. But when it's here at the end and all I'm trying to do is just generate those last few damage points, yeah, I just went ahead and fought some of that. As soon as I saw this rocket start looking at me, I kind of panicked and just started barraging the HQ. But, you know, I knew it didn't take too much more than that, so good job. And that's it. That is how we used the attacks in a coordinated decision-making system. I ended up not doing notes. Well, no, I did a couple notes. I said, do not attack, save for the visiting team, which is us. And, of course, some of the guys from Westland ignored notes, but you're always going to deal with that. I will tell you, Westland, that, you know, if you put up with note not followers, then you're going to be doing bases much easier than your capabilities forever, because as long as you have guys that you just won't do right, then they're never going to help you improve. You know, and I'm not saying kick them all, I'm saying coach them all. Coach every one of them. Get their attention, coach them, and if they can't be coached, you got to move them on, pal. You know, if they're being disruptive in the chat when there's good coaching happening, I'm sorry, I don't care if you're a leader or not. Don't disrupt my chat, man. Like, that's where all the good stuff happens. That's where the important stuff happens. You know, things like that. Don't be disruptive in chat. Read the notes. Work as a team. Encourage your guys. Now, everybody on this team, that it just felt like everybody was just waiting for us to fail. Well, we rocked, guys. We did. We freaking rocked. And then after reading the back chat, there's plenty of you that are like, wow, that was really impressive, or wow, those were very well coordinated. Even Dan Radar, you know, said, if our team can somehow follow with the same coordinated move and attack, we should be able to complete the op smoothly. Right, Dan, right. You know, like, that's, so there you go. And he says, Dan, of course, ours are a strong team. Well, we're stronger, like you haven't even seen half of the guys at our top. That's why I ask you not to cherry pick sometimes. Leave for lower level ones. Who's cherry picking? What are you talking about? Like, I don't know what he's talking about. But again, this is what you run into when you deal with these other teams. Nobody wants to be the guy to admit that there's a better system and they're not doing it. You know, so nobody wants to be it. So you just kind of have to show up. Just show the better system. Like, here you go. Here's the better system. Hope you enjoy it. And I guarantee they're going to be, you know, we're going to be dealing with these for a little bit. There is a point where I do have to say, guys, if you're not going to take the time to try to learn, I'm not going to take the time to try to teach, you know, and that's fair. You know, I wouldn't want you to waste my time, and you wouldn't want me to waste yours either. So, but there you go. So the next video I will do will be the Task Force Critic. That is where I'm going to look specifically at Westland's attacks. They didn't have a lot of attacks to look at, so I'll probably look at some of their past operations and just kind of see if we can point this team in the right direction as we get set up for the training op in the next few days. Well, alright, well, I want to thank everyone so much for watching this video. As always, please remember that we are still unboomable. Oh, I almost forgot this part. If you are a mid to higher level player that's looking for kind of a relaxed team where everybody seems to, you know, act kind of goofy and there's not really, you know, too much stress put on the wins and losses, then Westland would be a good team for you. That's hashtag 2J0LGY2Y. Again, that's hashtag 2J0LGY2Y. Alright, well again, thank you so much for watching. Please remember that we are still unboomable, and as always, please be safe.